What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Thee CrazyFaceUno Podcast. I'm your host, Shane McNeeley. Don't forget, we are inspiring others to do good, to make a difference in our local and global communities. And I am alone today. We are out walking with the dog. Today is move day. So I currently have 2 people packing my house, and they will be loading it up a little bit later today. And the beginning stages of the move have officially begun. It's a little noisy out here using my my other microphone, but you can obviously hear the cars going by. Hopefully the sound is okay. It's been a little bit of a long week. Been working on getting the house ready. Been working on making sure that everything is set for my new renters, for them to be able to move in and be ready. Obviously, there's a lot of work that has to get done even after they move. Biting off probably more than I can chew, but I'm also going to be having a garage sale on Saturday. I'm going to try to recoup a little money from everything that we've been doing. But yeah, I just wanted to check in. This has been a weird week. The next week and a half is going to be a little weird as well. We'll be having podcasts still. Some of them may be just me, so you may just have to listen to my voice for a few minutes. Get over it. But yeah, so today it's just going to be me. I'm just going to do a little short little blurb, kind of give you a rundown of the week. I will give you a little rundown of how the next week and a half is going to go, so that you can kind of understand what's going on, and maybe you can get excited for a few of the guests that are going to be coming on as well. So, to get us kicked off, let me just kind of tell you what has taken place since Saturday, or since Thursday, which is when Dana took off, or Wednesday, I guess she took off. But she took off with her sister and her mom, Debbie and Caitlin, and they went ahead and they made the road trip down to Florida. They arrived on Friday. She was able to get into the apartment on Saturday, which was great. And yeah, she's been down there in a pretty much empty apartment, considering all of our stuff is now currently getting packed up, which is, I'm sure, enjoyable. Not really. She started work on Monday, so she's been there the last few days, meeting people, just trying to get a handle on her new environment and her new situation and place. I know that that's been good and also had its difficulties, as to be expected with any new job, and that's just part of the process, I suppose. Yeah, and it's been, we've spent some time apart, Dana and I, but it's been, just a week here or a few days here. And earlier this, I guess it was last fall, I did an event in Texas that I was gone for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, which may have been the longest we were apart, I guess. It's hard to tell. I don't quite remember, but I know it's not been as long as we will have been apart by the time I get there. It's fine. I feel like our relationship is, we balance each other quite well. And, I obviously, she's my partner. She's my, person it keeps me grounded and keeps me sane sometimes, and allows me to process. And I'm such an external processor, which is great for the podcast, and maybe more of an earful than you guys are ready for sometimes. And that's probably exactly what this is going to be, is a little bit of an earful me externally processing a little bit of my experience with this whole move, and but that's been I feel like my biggest thing I've missed, I guess, is just being able to have that person to like talk through the day and talk through what's going on, and with all the commotion, and when I get frustrated about something or something doesn't work, it's just nice to have that camaraderie and have somebody that gets it. I don't know how else to say it, but it just gets it, and can talk with me, but she is not here, so I had to survive alone. The interesting piece to all of this is that I've just been, by myself and figuring stuff out. So the biggest piece I feel like that goes along with this move is, all the work I say we, because it's been me and a few different people have put into the house. We really worked, Dana's dad and brother came over, and my brother-in-law Andy, we all put up drywall in the basement, which is something I've wanted to do for a while and just haven't had the chance and had the ability to do so. And with the move, it kind of forced our hand in kind of making sure that got taken care of. Just adds value to the home. It gives our renters just a better quality of life, and technically by drywalling it allows us to count that as finished square footage. I've really enjoyed it. It's kind of a bummer that we did it and I didn't really get to enjoy much of it before I had to move, but it's been nice to have, and something that I have really enjoyed just kind of being a part of and having. That was a day project. Don't know how I would have done it without Tom and his brother John. Those two were they were just awesome. Obviously, it wasn't their first time ever doing this, so that helped. And then Andy being there was amazing too. Just the extra hands was really valuable throughout that process, I guess. The other thing I've been doing is just kind of painting and touching up a lot of the trim in the house, which was been needed to be touched up since I moved in, since I've been there. And we rented, Dana and I, we rented this house, and I've lived in this house for almost 6.5 years now. I guess almost 6 years now. And so she's been in there half that time, I think. So, but the way it goes, it's like renting. You have renters that come in, you have renters that go, and you transition, and it's not always like, quote, a good time to paint or a good time to do some of those things. And if you don't make time, if you're not intentional about it, they just slip by and slip through the cracks. There's been several things that like that, I guess. One of the big ones has been not big ones, but there's like those little things, like I'm currently sitting in a park, and so I've got headphones in and I'm holding a microphone, and I hear people in the background, and it's weird to hear other people. So but yeah, so there's just never like a good time to do that. And if you're not intentional about making sure you get those things done and pulling the couches out and just doing it, then it doesn't get done. Just like little things with like the bathtub and the dishwasher, and just like little things that have needed to be taken care of, but I finally did. So it's crazy how you also trying to make time for friends and people in the area, and work hard and do those things, but people want to see you before you move, and that's understandable. I want to see people before I move as well. So there's just little bits and pieces with that obviously, keep things hopping. Feeling real tired. It didn't really hit me until Wednesday that we were moving, and Leslie was the lady that we were on the phone with, and through the company that we're working with, and her just telling me, hey, they're going to show up tomorrow and they're going to start. And that was the kind of the piece that I maybe needed to hear. I just hadn't felt like this was a real thing yet. And it's definitely taking shape. Yesterday, obviously, there was some difficulty with that as well, just with the amount of the boxes and everything's in the house that's now packed up, and having to pack my own stuff and making sure I have everything I'm going to need for the next couple weeks. And that's a lot. Just having to live out of, it's like the good old days. It's funny because, Dana had asked me a while ago, like, was your move from California, was it similar to this? And I was like, no, because I just had like a few bags and that was it. It's like you have 3 bags, you check 2 of them and you fly home and carry on another, and or whatever, check 3, and that's your life. That's what you got. I actually ended up shipping a couple boxes home to Indiana, so then I didn't have to check bags and all that. But just interesting because it's not the same. It's different when you have a house that has things and they have memories and value and whatever, some sort of value to you. And I feel like that's been one of the struggles of, there are things that you just hold on to and you keep. One, because it's a house, we own a house and we have the space. So, there's those times you have those things that you use maybe once a year or once every couple of years, but by golly, they're really nice when you have them. And Chance is getting a little antsy. We're going to go keep walking. So yeah, it's just nice when you have them, but are you going to need them in a 2-bedroom apartment that we're moving into? Are you going to need them, for those types of things, I guess? And that's kind of the piece that you have to sort through all that stuff, and trying to minimize what we have and not take more than what we need. It's just a good lesson, or it's a good thing in general. I think just purging yourself of some of the things that you have and getting rid of some of those things are always important. How's it going? But yeah, those pieces are, I think it's just important to live simplified and have a simplified life. I think that we do accumulate a lot of things, and there's nothing wrong with things, I don't think, but I don't know, I think that these shakeups can be good and healthy and just help you realize what's important. And I think that maybe that's the piece that simplifying or living a simplified life is what it does, is that it forces you to know what's important to you and forces you to have those moments of reflection and look at those things that you own and things that you use and just place value on them in some ways, and you just know what you have and know what you're going to use and whatever. But the long story short, or long rant short, is I think it's good. I think it's healthy to sort through things. It's so easy and it's so easy to get complacent and stuck. And I mean, look at your own home. wherever you live right now. Look at it. Look at your parents' home. Look at your grandparents' home. If you've ever had to do this with a loved one that's passed away, like, you know that it's a process, and you have the grieving process of the things, but it's not the things, it's the memories. You have all those different components that go into, packing stuff up and getting rid of it and distributing it amongst family or whatever it is. It still isn't easy. It's still hard. It still makes things difficult, even if it's not your own stuff. It's the memories around it. So I guess I'm challenging you to maybe tackle a room. Go into one room of your house. Maybe it's your bedroom, maybe it's your spare room, maybe it's just a tiny little closet. But just go through it. And decide that if I had to move right now, would I take this or would I leave it? What would I do? Remember those memories that you had with those things. I have a guy I know, actually, the guy who used to own the house, Joseph. He got rid of a bunch of boxes. He had several boxes full of just things from his childhood and memories, and he never used them. He didn't have them out, and so he decided he wanted to live a minimalist life and be able to travel the world, and he decided that he was just going to take pictures of them, and he'd take a picture of the stuffed animal, and then he could remember those memories that were with it. So maybe you can do something like that. If you've got those things that are like, man, I'm never going to use this. Somebody else can use it and find value in it, but it has a lot of memory. Take a picture of it. Print it off. Don't just leave it on your phone, and make an album out of it. You just simplified some of your things in your life into an album, and that can be helpful. That can be a gift. Maybe you write them out. Maybe you write out the story behind it, and it's something you could pass on to your family, to your kids, to whoever that might be. But don't be afraid to just tackle one little project. Tackle a drawer. Don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to get crazy. But if you just do that every day, do one little simple thing every day, then you simplified your life, made it a little bit better. So that is the process of packing and all of that jazz. The next stage, or the next step for me, is I've got a lot of cleaning to do, and like I said, I'm going to do a garage sale with the magnitude of boxes that I have in the garage right now, and we will be doing that tomorrow. So exciting. Not something I'm really looking forward to, but something that I think is important nonetheless. And so we're doing that, and then Monday morning I will be taking off on the trip. So the destination, the end goal will obviously be to end up in Florida and to see my wife. Hopefully that will be around Wednesday or Thursday, not of next week, but of the following week. I'm thinking that's going to be like the 6th or 7th, I believe is the date. But I will be leaving Monday morning bright and early. I'd like to leave as early as possible. And I'm going to be heading to Chicago, where I'll be staying with another friend from college. Her name is Margie. And hopefully we will do a podcast as well. That will be great to do that podcast with her. She's a wonderful lady. Guys, all right, so Chance he's taking a number 2 here. So you guys get to be on the phone with me, or get to be on this podcast with me while I pick up his shit. So enjoy. Hang on. This is the worst part about dog ownership and walking your dog, is when they take a dump in somebody's yard and you gotta clean it up. But just another reason that owning a dog is probably good practice for having kids. So, because although it's a little different, there are some similarities. Alright, wrapped up, tied off. This microphone, I'm sure you guys can tell because you're listening to it, but it seems to be picking up a lot of the noise of me holding the microphone, which I'm not a fan of, but I didn't really put together my whole thing. I'm just holding the microphone. It's attached to my phone, and I got the headphones in, but you get the full effect. Anyway, yeah, I'll be heading to Chicago. That will be my first stop with Margie. We'll be doing a podcast, which will be great. I'm really excited about that. So hopefully next week, I'm guessing that I will do a solo podcast for you all Monday on my way out to Chicago. I've got a 6-hour, almost 7-hour drive to get to Margie. And then from there, so I'll probably do something in the car and just kind of chat with you guys for a little bit, and you can come along on the ride with me and Chance. Then Margie's podcast will probably be Wednesday, would be my guess, is when I'll put that out. I will be going from Chicago to Indiana, where I will be on Tuesday and Wednesday, and spending a couple days with my mama. And then I will be going from there to my father's house. And I'm going to spend a couple days with him on the Thursday, Friday. And then from there, I'll be heading to my buddy Tony. So you've already heard from Tony with the Bethel Boys series, but we're going to be doing another podcast with him, potentially with him and his wife, but we will see about that. And so we'll see about that. And then, but we will have a podcast, so that will be on that Saturday. So Friday will probably be another podcast with just myself. You'll be stuck with me again, I'm guessing, for Friday's podcast. And then the following week, that Monday, will be probably good old T-Bone. I will be taking off and then going to southern Indiana, to Evansville, where I'm going to spend some time with my best friend from high school. His name is Andy as well. I have lots of Andys in my life. And so him and I will be, his wife, and he has 2 kids as well. I've actually not met their 2 kids, so I'm excited to meet them. That will be a good thing. There's a good possibility of me staying there that night and not getting to really spend much time in Nashville. My intention was to just stop in and then go to Nashville and spend time with people in Nashville, because I know some people there, but haven't been able to get in touch with them. And so then, looks like I might just be passing through Nashville and doing a long day after that, which would be the 5th. And I'll just do an early morning and a long, just a long walk, essentially. Long drive that day from southern Indiana all the way to Atlanta, where I'll be stopping and spending the day or spending an evening with my buddy Thomas. And Thomas is a fascinating dude. Hopefully I can do a podcast with him as well. That would be really great. I'd really like to get some of his stories out there. He actually just recently did a climb of Denali, which I'm really excited to hear more about and to talk to him about. That seems like a really fun climb. There was a lot of training that went into it, I know, and he did make it. They made it. They were able to summit, but they did it very quickly. and in a time that's not normally it's done it. So he's got some stories about that, and I would love to pick his brain about it, and I'm sure it would be interesting for you guys to hear as well. He's also a really fascinating dude that I was able to work with at the event I worked in Texas for International Justice Mission last fall. And he's just a brilliant mind, fantastic at the work he does. So hopefully we'll be able to do a podcast with him. That will bring us to the possibility of a stop in northern Florida, but most likely it's going to mean another second long day straight to my wife and Coconut Creek, which, again, when I get there, it'll be nice because I will finally get to see my wife, probably for the first time in 3 weeks, which will be awesome. And I can officially call Coconut Creek home, which will also be great because it'll be nice to not be living out of my car, I believe, by the time I get there. So that is the plan. There are a few podcasts lined up throughout. There's a possibility of others that will come about as I go, but I've only locked in a couple of those. So those are the ones I was talking about. I will or would like to, or potentially will do more, or do some maybe with my parents. We'll see about that. See if they're up for that or interested in anything like that. You just never know. But yes, that is the plan. I will hopefully, again, I'll be there in a couple weeks in Coconut Creek and start the journey in Florida. Our stuff may even be there by the time I get there, or I may beat it, but they're giving us a window of 7 to 10 days, and I think that will be cars. That will be right around the time, from the time it ships out and ships off today to the time I get there and it gets to Florida. It'll be right around that same time. So there is a good possibility of us, or me, getting there by the time our stuff is there. But nonetheless, we've got movers to move things in, so my wife will not have to do much but just be there, which will be great. Yes, that is a little rundown on my past week and the weeks to come. The week to come and the podcast. I really appreciate all of you out there that have been tuning in and listening. I hope this wasn't too boring, and hopefully we can keep things going and I can get into a little bit of a rhythm. Again, walking with Chance and doing this is probably not the most efficient, but there are multiple people in my home right now, and I needed to get out of the house and talk to you guys for a few minutes. So, if there are things you want to see, hear along the trip, I would love to be able to provide some content and some entertainment for you. I would like to do a little video, maybe like a little video blog through Instagram with the trip, and just kind of giving you updates on where I'm at throughout. I may or may not make that part of my story. I don't use the story thing a lot, but maybe that's the best way to do it. We shall see. But give me a shout out, shoot me a message or a text message, or write it in the comments, and let me know what you think, what you would like to hear, what you'd like to do. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget, do good, make a difference. Be kind to people out there. Love you guys. Peace.